Hi, how are you tonight? And thank you for joining me. My name's Roberta Colosino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Pompano Beach, Florida. But sometime in the next week or two, I will be back in New York State, and I'll be coming to you then from the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. So I understand it hasn't gotten super warm there yet, although things are sprouting. Someone sent me a picture that had my cherry tree in it, and all the cherry blossoms are blooming. I just hope we don't get a frost because they don't last long enough as it is. All right, I will turn the camera down. I have two cards for you tonight, and one of them I thought was simple, but I goofed it up, I think, 2 different times. So you'll benefit from that knowledge. All right, I'll put the camera down and we'll get going. Let's just tighten that up. Yeah, it doesn't want to stay tightened. I don't know what the deal is with that. I think it's because I've got it hanging kind of over the edge. All right, last week I noticed that my voice was not very loud, and I think it's because of this recently new thing where the camera has to go in a different direction. So if you're having a hard time hearing me and just turning up your volume doesn't seem to be doing the trick, please leave me a comment and let me know so that I'll see what I can do about that. I was kind of toying with the idea of picking up a little microphone, but then sometimes you hear people breathing and it's almost too much. But I'm willing to give it a try because I want you to be able to hear me. Okay, so here I am. I was just checking to make sure I was in the right place. You can find me on YouTube as well. Last week, something strange happened. When I went to post my video, it was basically telling me that that wasn't my YouTube channel. Every once in a while, these things happen, and I tried all the typical things, and it didn't work, so it now seems that I have 2 YouTube channels, both by the name of 11 Lake Stampers, one with lots of video on it, and one with just last week's video on it. And I'm going to have to seek out some help to get that straightened out because it's a little weird. Sometimes those things kind of rectify themselves over time, sometimes they don't. So anyway, you can reach me at 11 Lake Stamper on YouTube, but if you find a channel with only one video, look again because there's a channel that has lots of videos. Okay, let's see, the product of the month for April. I feel like April's almost over, and sometimes I almost feel like May is almost over just because I've got things on the calendar already. But the product of the month, I mentioned it last week, is called the Eyelet Blooms die. It's a 1-piece die, and I think it's going to be very versatile. I think you're going to like it. And for $5, you can't beat it. But keep in mind, you have to spend, $75 in order to get that deal for $5. But you also get your rewards. And so as long as you have things to buy, it's definitely worth it. All right, so the first card, I saw this one. Is this the one I'm thinking of? One of the cards I saw was by a German crafter, card maker. She's not a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from what I can tell. I can't remember if this is that one or not. It might be the other one. I think it's the other one. And this one, I'll have to double check. I thought I remembered it, but now I don't. Was inspired by somebody. Okay, well anyway, so I do like to give credit when I can. Sometimes I really can't because I don't remember, or sometimes I've changed it so much people tell me. So basically, it hedges on this side in this direction, and it is 5.5 inches this way, scored at 4 1/4. And we're going to put a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of pretty and pink cardstock on there. That's the first thing. I refilled my glue bottles today, and I don't know what was happening, but I think more glue ended up in my kitchen sink than in the bottles. It was just sort of like puffing up on me and air bubbling up and spilling over the sides. It was kind of a hot mess. But the 2 little bottles are full, and when I get home, I have to fill up some more bottles. I have posted my coffee and card day, Tuesday, May 12th, as usual, the second Tuesday of the month. at Grind On Coffee Company, and that's in Newark, New York, not Newark, New Jersey, Newark, New York. And it's been quite a while since we've had a class, so I'm hoping that some of my regulars will come as well as maybe some new people. It's always nice to see new faces. Okay, I put that on real crooked. This is just my little zhuzhing trick for when I put something on crooked. I just kind of bend it back and forth and push it in the direction I want it. Much better. Yeah, it looks like that's not quite happening for me. To tell you the truth, if that ever happens and you're really bothered by it, you could cut a tiny bit off. Take the envelope, just nobody's paper. This was one of the product of the months, and this one is 3 3/4 by 5. So what I did was I kind of pinched it so that I could see what half was. I mean, I knew what half of 5 was, but half of 3 3/4 is like, I don't know, something in 8, not even like 7/8, a little bit more than 7/8. It's a little weird. So I hope I got it right, because they are supposed to be 4 equal sides. So basically you're cutting it in half on the short side, and then you're cutting it in half. Let me just check. Oh yeah, that's pretty darn okay. And then cutting it half on the other side as well. I got 2 pieces at once. Okay. Yep, that's pretty good. It may not be absolutely perfect, but it's darn close to perfect. All right, so what you do now is that these pieces are going to go like this. All right, it's a good idea to have paper that's non-directional, and it's a good idea, and this one didn't quite work out, to have paper on the other side that's, if not a solid color, at least almost solid, but this one clearly is not, but I think it'll be fine anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this first piece and we're going to fold, make sure I'm in camera here, yeah, we're going to fold like this. What is that, 45 degree angle? What is that called? Geometry was not my thing. But anyway, you want it to be straight, okay? When you fold it, you want it to be straight this way and straight that way. And we can take a little bit of glue and make sure we fold that down. If I was smart, I'd wait and glue it until I'm sure I've done this right, but I think I have. She says, okay, so that's going to go there. Now this piece is going to come off, and now we're going to fold this corner up. And you really can't fold it wrong, theoretically, because you're stopping at that angle. So you should be folding up about the same amount on each side. That looks pretty good to me. Maybe just a tiny bit more. No, because then that, if I do a little bit more, that goes on an angle that I don't want it to go at. All right, so we'll go ahead and glue this little corner down. This one I just see has a little piece that's sticking up, so let's burnish that down. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this, all right? Now this one, we're going to take this corner and fold it, all right? It's easier for me to do it facing me, but I just wanted to make sure I know which corner I'm doing. All right, that needs to be a tiny bit straighter. And then this one, take and fold it over. Now the other thing here is going to be, and I don't know if I can just that those are both yellow, and this is not going to be green on the other side. So that might have been a reason not to glue those down just yet, because I don't think I can. Well, no, but then they're still next to each other. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't bug me that much, but it would be better if you had solid or just a tiny pattern or something on the other side that was consistent. You know, if it was polka dots, it wouldn't matter. If it was stripes, it wouldn't matter, but it would be better if they were all the same color, I guess. Okay, so that's going to go like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue them on. And then, all right, you know what I'm going to do just to be sure that I know what I'm doing? I'm going to glue like that, but I'm not putting glue on that folded portion because I want to be able to stick something under that if I have to, and I think I might have to. Might not have to go under, but just in case it does have to go under, that's what I'm going to do. So this portion, the portion that's in the center, I'm not going to put glue on. I can always slide some glue on afterwards. That's actually surprisingly easy to do. Okay. All right. I thought it might make sense to do corners first. I don't know if it really does make sense. Yeah, no matter what I do, those two are going to end up next to each other. So, all right, it is what it is. You're learning a technique. It doesn't mean that you have to use the same paper, obviously, or the same colors or anything like that I did. You do want to get them in the right direction. Okay. Okay. I'm definitely taking a little bit more time here, being sure that I'm getting this straight, because my little zhuzhing trick probably doesn't work when you're gluing down multiple pieces. So you want your spacing to be even. Actually, that one's not straight. I see it now. It looked even from the angle I was at a minute ago, and now I can see that it's not perfectly straight. But again, I think it's okay. This needed to come down. To basically be square because of the way it's angled, but you want it to be kind of a square. Okay, so I just looked up, and for just a second I saw a flash of me showing you my 11 leg stamper sign, but now I'm back on track. So I don't know what that was about. I'm telling you, there's just always something. All right, let's go this way now and see if I can get this right. It could also be that I didn't fold that corner down as much, but there's not a lot I can do about that, so I think we're going to have to accept that as being good. All right, so then what I'm going to need is a small piece, not this obviously, that's going to fit in here, and I wasn't sure if I might need to have it go under. So the thing is, you now have to have a sentiment that's going to fit in that little square slash diamond, okay? And I thought I found one in the Right Words set, which we've used a few times in the last couple of weeks. There's one that I see that looks like it would be a perfect fit, but I'm just not fond of that particular sentiment. I'm not quite sure what I would use it for. So I was looking at this one, if I can get it out. Okay, so this one is the one that says, "To someone worth celebrating every single day." But it might be pushing it a little bit. I'll stamp it and we'll just kind of see what happens. All right, let's get a block, and we'll see if we can make it work. I think I'm going to just go for the Memento Black. The other thing we could do possibly is pop it up a little bit, and so it will sort of rise above that instead of fitting under it. I'm sure that we have a couple of different options. So I'm going to stamp this and leave some room around the edges. The good thing about leaving extra room is if you stamp it a little crooked, which I did fix it when cleaning it. So I'm going to, I want to do my baby trimmer here. Here it is. Okay, and I'm still cutting it probably bigger than we need it, just as kind of a safety measure, because we can keep cutting it down, but if we make it too small, that won't be very good either, although I think we're going to have to come pretty close to the edges to make this work, especially on the sides. Some square, so let's get it to be a perfect square. Let's just, for the heck of it, let's go with what is that, 1 7/8, just because that's what it happens to be. 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. Okay, now we'll save that for another day because it certainly won't go to waste. Okay, and we'll get our ink out again, and this time we'll stamp it in a diamond shape. That's a little trickier. And yeah, so this is where I'm just not sure if this one's going to fit or not. I think I'm going to have to keep trimming it, because obviously we don't want it, well, you can still see those other things, but I think we can get it just a tiny bit smaller. But then whatever I do on one side, I think I have to do on the other side. I don't want to touch that and make sure it's dry. All right, let's see. So we're just taking a touch off. So instead of 1/7 on that side, it's one of, let's see, what is that? 3/4. It's not quite, the sentiment's too big. You can kind of get the idea there. I'll see if I can find a smaller sentiment that will fit there. That's not terrible though. If you pop it up and you saw those coming out, it's not terrible. But it's actually supposed to be like kind of down under there. Maybe I could squeeze it in there, but I don't think, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to cover up too much of it, I think. So I'll have to find something a little bit smaller. The other thing is you can always handwrite a sentiment and put it in the center. You can put an image in the center. And I just thought this was kind of different. I don't think I've ever done this particular funnel before, or at least I remember doing it. And it's pretty simple and pretty easy to do. You just have to find the right sentiment. So a smart thing to do, I don't have my good ruler in here, but I'll have a sample. So I have a sentiment that will fit one of these. next card. The next one was the and this is the one I'm pretty sure that was done by the German card maker, only because the sentiment was in German. Well, it could have been done mixed up sometimes. All right, so here's how this one goes. It uses 1-inch circles, so I used my 1-inch circle punch. If you don't have a 1-inch circle punch, you probably have a die set somewhere that has a circle in it that's 1 inch or at least close to 1 inch. So that would work as well. All right, now here's what the person in the video did that I kind of chuckled at because I thought, boy, that took a lot of work. So what she did was she cut out, well, she did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. She started out with white, which I thought was a little strange. Okay, I said the word circle punch, and now Google thought I was talking to him, and it's brought up like where to buy 1-inch circle punches. And so I'm frozen. Hey Siri, cancel. Do it. So then I said, I don't have room here for sentiment because her card is at the bottom. So I said, okay, well, that's really pretty. We can do something with it, but obviously that's not what was meant to happen. So, and I decided I didn't like the white, so I went ahead instead and I did the melon mambo, the strawberry slush, pretty in pink, crushed curry, and lemon lolly. And believe it or not, I did that. Gosh. I'm sorry, but I'm frozen. Okay, there we go. I did that. I got those colors because I actually did, I don't want to say the word, a Google search asking for what Stampin' Up! Colors, what 5 Stampin' Up! Colors would look good together because I couldn't find my color wheel or the other thing. So they told me these colors and I wasn't too sure about it, but I actually do like them. All right, so what she had done was she cut out all of those circles and then she put each individual circle on her scoreboard and scored each individual circle in half. And I said, are you kidding me? There's got to be an easier way to do that. So what I did was I cut strips of each color that were, I believe, 1.5 inches wide. And then I scored the whole thing down the middle. And then I just took my punch and sort of hovered it over what looked like that middle line to me, and I did pretty good. That was a whole lot quicker than scoring every one of these circles, don't you think? So that's a little trick there. So what I had to do instead was start so I got a pencil and I got out a ruler and I just, well, actually I didn't use a ruler. I just sort of made some super faint lines, and this line is where the circle start. Line is where the circle would, where the center of the circle would go. I hope that makes sense. All right, so just to make sure that I'm starting, actually it's this way. So I'm starting higher up so there'll be more of a blank space at the bottom. I hope you can see that. So I started with the darkest color first, which was the Melon Mambo. They're already scored, they're pre-scored, and all I had to do was bend them in half, fold them in half. And when I looked at them, I had done a pretty darn good job of finding that center line using the score. All right, that was pretty easy. That's a spare apparently because I only 4. All right, and then what I did was I put glue. The person doing the demonstration used tear and tape, but I put glue, maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, not just one skinny line. I put it down as far as I thought I was going to need to go, and I started with one with the center line facing this way. All right, facing up and down, and I'm much closer to the top than I was before. And you just kind of press it down in the middle. Now the next one, the center line is going horizontally, okay? But it has to get tucked under this first one, which is why you don't want to press the first one down too hard, because you really only want it catching in the middle, if you can help it. Okay, you can hold it down in the middle, and I think I need to go under that one a little bit more. And keep it straight. I've got a shadow here so I can barely see what I'm doing. That's a shame. Okay. So we've got that. And so it's pretty, you know, it's three-dimensional. Now I'm gonna have one where again the center line is going, whoops, up and down. So again, and I can see where I'm going to have to move my line just a tiny bit lower for my pencil line was. All right, so it's going to go down there, and I really only want to glue down the middle. The next one is going to go up and down, only instead of under, this one's going to go over. That's why I messed up the first time, okay? But it is going to slip under the one in front of it or on top of it. So that's where the over-under thing is. It goes in both directions, and I was not going in both directions. Now this one is going to go under that one and over. No, wait, wrong way. Okay, so this one's going horizontal, and it is going to go under that one and over the one on top of it. And now this next one is going to go straight up and down, and it's going to go over this one, but it's going to get tucked under the one in front of it, or on top of it. Sorry, I keep saying in front. Okay, so now I am seeing that I've got a little less room over here than on here. I can just chop that down. Yes, you can see, I mean, I got them pretty well folded in half. All right. Okay, so now this one went horizontal, so this one's going to go vertical, and it's going to tuck under that one. I'm just going to hold it down for a few. This one's going to go horizontal, and it's going to go over the one on top of it and under the one next to it. Just going to hold that down for a few. The next one is going to go up and down, and it's going to go over this one, but first it's going to go under the one on top of it. And the last one now is going to go horizontally, and it's going to go under the one next to it and over the one on top of it. If you just, when this is done, if you just take a screenshot of it, you'll see it. Why I didn't see it when I did it the first time, I don't know, but I didn't. All right, so now we're going to go for the darker of the yellow colors, and that would be I keep wanting to call it crusty something or other, crushed curry. Crusty wouldn't be a very nice name for a color, would it? Okay. And it's going to go over the ones to it. Then the next one is going to go over the one on top of it. It's going to go horizontal over the one on top of it, but under the one next to it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. It sounds like I just said that 2 times in a row. Is that right? Okay, I see what's wrong. Hang on. This one. No. Over, under, over. Yeah, this one is supposed to go under that. Now, see, once you get it, you'll start noticing something's not right pretty quick, which is good. Let's get a little more glue on there. This is probably not a card I would bring to coffee in a card, to be honest with you, just because it's, really time consuming. But on the other hand, it's one of those cards, and I know I say this a lot, that if you made it once or twice, you'd have it. You know what I mean? And then the next time it wouldn't be so torturous. And if I had paid attention and looked at the card that I was copying it from, I wouldn't have made that mistake the first time anyway. But I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It's like, it's like weaving. I know just what I'm doing. Well, not so much. All right, so now we're going to fold these in half. Okay, so now here's my line a little bit lower. And this one is now going to go under. It's going to go vertical, and it's going to go under the one on top of it. And then we're going to hold it down. Horizontal, and it's going to go under the one next to it, but over the one on top of it. Okay, then the next one is going to go over the one next to it and under the one on top of it. Yep, okay. Under that one, and then it'll be over the one next to it, and then the last one will be horizontal and will go under the one next to it and over the one on top of it. Okay, so even then, I barely have enough room there. Here's the good news, though. I found a sentiment ahead of time. Using my computer, obviously, but I have the problem when I'm using iPad, which I just really have to use here because there's no place to put the computer. company, so it's a twin trundle bed, so it's really not trundle bed. But it takes up much more room in the room than what was here before, and so as a result I just don't have room for another table in here. Okay, so this is kind of one thing with the cardstock, and that one is going to need to get cut down a little bit. I don't know if I want it going all the way. Now that was 3 3/4, or no, that was 4, but now it's smaller, so let's see. Where's my pencil? You know, it's just amazing to me how things just walk away on this desk. Here we go. So make a little pencil mark there. So it'll go across the whole bottom. All right, and then we'll erase that little pencil mark. And now we want to make it a little bit thinner too. Tiny bit off the top as well. So that side, I like the way it stands. I think because of the past, and it's, I don't know why she chose to start with white. Doesn't make sense to me, but I've never been really good with colors, so I don't know, but I think this looks good, so I'm happy with that. And then the other one, I'm just going to have to find the right size sentiment. That's some of the problems we have with some of the fun folds that we do, is that they restrict the size of the sentiment that you can have. And so sometimes that means that you end up using a sentiment that you don't particularly like, which doesn't make sense, you know. But that's just kind of the way it is. So this other one just might work. I don't know, I'll have to check it out. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's the one I read to you last week. I know a good thing when I see it, and I see lots of good things in you. Which would, to me, that would make a really good graduation card for someone. I don't know. So maybe I'll use that one if it fits. Otherwise, I might have to find one or make one up on my own. All right, so thank you very much for watching me and joining me tonight. And I will see you, I think what I'm going to do, I'm either leaving here Saturday, I'll be home on Wednesday, maybe not, or I'm not leaving Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll be packed, and it's still the same thing. So what I'm going to try to do is record a video and put it on YouTube to premiere next Wednesday. I have never done that, so that'll be a new thing for me, so it may or may not work. But every evening I'll be in a hotel for the 3 nights that I'm traveling, so I should be able to play with it and get that to work. But yeah, you never know. You just never know. All right, so thanks again, and I will either see you live or you will see a video of me next week.